to get that daily news. I ain't watching TV, I'ma log on to YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Talking about that raw, uncut news. You a fool, you believe in mainstream and local news. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And 411, keep the 411. On a sensitive subject, keep it 100, don't bite no tongue. If you cannot take the truth, then this is finna hurt. Who's to say if it's a round or a flat earth? Stick to the fact, what's some feelings? I don't do no capping. Read that paper, seen that news, now you know what happened. Playing a pretty picnic, but they control that weather. Same crisis actors, like we don't know no better. Thing about the truth always come to the light. Pile of is too many, all bark, no bite. Like muscle, no might. I don't know what happened to them, but I know the way they said somebody that ain't right. It's time to get that daily news. I ain't watching TV, I'ma log on to YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Talking about that raw, uncut news. You a fool, you believe in mainstream and local news. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe.
Tempers flared, mace came out, fists flew, powder came between protesters and other residents, all of them agitated. Late today, another powerful image, shouting Black Lives Matter, demonstrators filled a highway. Shifting tactics from protesters and police, but with tensions barely budging.
More. Look at this. They just keep coming.
Oh! Go inside! Get inside! Get inside! Get inside! Get in your house now! Let's go! Light them up! Go inside now! Get in the house!
Get in, get in, get in, get in, get in, get in. Get in.
Oh, God, that hurt. You good?
Are you okay?
Right on the fucking crotch.
Are you okay? You got hit?
I'm good. They're fucked for that, dude. What?
telling right to you.
Calm this morning after another night of heated demonstrations in Minneapolis and more than a dozen other cities across the country. The anger is spreading over the deadly arrest of George Floyd. Bail was set at $500,000 for fired Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was arrested Friday. Chauvin is facing third-degree murder and manslaughter charges in connection with Floyd's death. The other 3 fired officers have not yet been charged. But deep in the middle of a pandemic, hundreds of mask-wearing demonstrators took to the streets of Minneapolis demanding justice for a 4th night. On the West Coast, demonstrators blocked busy roadways in Oakland and Los Angeles. In Oregon, officials say police headquarters in Portland were vandalized and then set on fire.
Minneapolis and firefighters can't do their job without the help of the National Guard. They are serving a dual role here, not only with crowd control, but also security for firefighters who, as I said, have a lot of work to do. What we're hearing this morning is that there will be reinforcements coming in for the National Guard, and our David Martin at the Pentagon is reporting that U.S. military police have also been put on alert. The governor of this state has been trying to call for calm, trying once again to send the message to demonstrators that they have to do this peacefully. But that has been a difficult message to get out because once again we are seeing destruction across this city.
The Pentagon has ordered U.S. military police to prepare for a deployment to Minneapolis as a protest over the highly publicized death of an African-American man are intensifying. Soldiers in North Carolina and New York were told to be ready to deploy within 4 hours. This follows President Donald Trump's request to Defense Secretary Mark Esper for military options in handling the riots. Civil unrest has been growing across the U.S. in around 10 cities after a Minneapolis police officer suffocated the unarmed 46-year-old to death. The police officer who knelt on the man's neck during the incident has been arrested and is now charged with murder.
It does. The Pentagon is taking the rare step of putting military police on alert to come here to Minneapolis. So that is really interesting.
It is, and if that sounds extreme, ladies and gentlemen, when you understand what might happen tomorrow, it might sound maybe logical to you. Pat, do you want to speak to this with the Pentagon putting military police on alert, and who are they and where would they come from?
Yes, I do. We've been talking to some Republican officials tonight who have been in contact with the White House. They tell us that President Trump has been monitoring the situation here in Minneapolis, all of the conflagration, the fires, the chaos, and the out of control, it appears, a lot of the chaos is happening, the violence in Minneapolis. So it appears now, we can confirm, the Associated Press is reporting that the Pentagon is taking that step of activating military police to come to Minneapolis to try to restore order. Now, I have reached out to the governor's office to ask for a comment on this. We don't know if the governor's office is involved in this, but I do know that there are high-level politicians here in Minnesota who have been in contact with the White House about this. Now, President Trump famously tweeted last night a very controversial tweet about how Minneapolis was having so much violence, and he said that he was prepared to take control of Minneapolis, in the president's words, and if the looting starts, the shooting starts, something that he was criticized heavily for suggesting that we would shoot looters here in Minneapolis. And he had a press conference today, and everybody wanted to ask him about it. It was a press conference, however, on China, and he took no questions, talking about China and COVID and the WHO. But the bottom line here is that the president is very concerned, is what I'm being told. The president is very concerned about what's happening in Minneapolis. He has ordered the Pentagon to activate military police to come to Minneapolis to help restore order. So that is a level of police and law enforcement that we have not seen here in Minneapolis in all of my years.
Yeah, Pat, I know you said that the president didn't talk about this at the press conference. He was talking about China, but I could have sworn I saw a tweet from him explaining himself when he said that, and he said he was trying to say that the looting leads to shooting.
Yes,
and
that's how the president tried to explain it. This is after Twitter placed a warning label on his tweet that the looting starts and the shooting starts. They said that it glorified violence, and that particular phrase is a well-known phrase in racial history.
Yes.
It's considered racist, comes from the 1960s from the South during the Civil Rights movement. And so he was trying to explain that. He did not allow any questions at his press conference today, so we don't know exactly how he felt. But yes, you're right. That is how he explained it.
Pat, hold that thought, because I want to try to advance this as I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't want to keep hashing the president's tweets from last night. I have some questions moving forward for you, but we just want to let people know a lot of the video that they're seeing is stuff that was all shot tonight, Friday evening in Minneapolis. There's an 8 o'clock curfew. It goes until 6 o'clock. We've had some gunshots fired at the 5th Precinct. Everything you're seeing is fires from tonight, or what I guess you would call unlawful gatherings or civil disobedience, however you want to frame it, as we do that. So,
and also
Sure.
The Department of Public Safety put out a tweet that's saying that law enforcement officers have arrested several people who ignored the dispersal orders.
But of course, Frank, that is the question. If we can't control it with what we have, what's next? Or what's the next level? Why haven't we arrested people who have defied the curfew that was imposed in the Twin Cities? So those are the questions that I think need answers from, and a lot of people are asking them.
Yo, my niggas, y'all took every fucking car almost off the lot. Bro, y'all crazy for real. Hey, at least y'all didn't take my orange one though I was gonna buy. But still, y'all crazy for this shit.
Protests continued across the nation following the death of George Floyd while in police custody. Here in New York City, we saw several protesters being arrested after staying out until the early morning hours. While demonstrators yesterday had started peacefully, they took a violent turn for the 4th straight night. CBS 2's Jenna DeAngelis is in Soho with more. Jenna.
Yeah, Dick, for most of the day Sunday, as you mentioned, the protests were peaceful, but by night things took a turn with businesses badly damaged, fire sets, and police say they've made dozens of arrests. We're at Canal and Varick Street away from the activity, but you could see police are still out this morning.
Video overnight shows fireworks set off in Soho, fire in the middle of the street, along with what appears to be looting and store windows smashed. This following demonstrations across the city Sunday. After 4 days of violence and confrontations between police and protesters, a rare moment of unity in Times Square. An NYPD officer hugged by a demonstrator after taking a knee in solidarity.
People from all over the place feel the same way. We're all hurt, we're all tired, and we're all coming together. This is gonna happen for a change.
Our cameras capture the moment a large group of protesters from Bryant Park joined another from Union Square and together marched to Times Square.
I just love seeing how everyone has come together and just come here to support one another.
With their cries for justice, protesters eventually walked downtown across the Manhattan Bridge to try and meet up with another group of demonstrators in Brooklyn. There, scenes were more tense. Protesters staged a die-in protest. Police cars graffitied with paint. Throughout the weekend, there were fires, cases of vandalism, and looting. Police released this photo of a woman seen throwing a Molotov cocktail into a police van with officers inside. 27-year-old Samantha Shader of Catskill is charged with attempted murder. Mayor de Blasio says officers are being investigated too after this video near Prospect Park showed an NYPD cruiser lurching into a crowd. Protesters had been pelting the car with debris.
These acts of the NYPD in wielding multi-ton vehicles against protesters undermines the effort to make our streets safer.
A curfew couldn't keep protesters in Minneapolis at home. fires on the streets of a city in its 4th night of unrest. And across America, solidarity turned into aggression. All triggered by the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man who died whilst in police custody. Protesters in Atlanta targeted CNN's headquarters, and in Brooklyn, police used force to break up crowds. The anger is still palpable, despite this announcement earlier in the day.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with murder and with manslaughter.
Chauvin could face up to 25 years in prison if convicted of the most serious charge, third-degree murder. President Trump struck an empathetic tone after earlier making divisive comments on Twitter.
I understand the hurt, I understand the pain. People have really been through a lot. The family of George is entitled to justice, and the people of Minnesota are entitled to live in safety.
Floyd's relatives have welcomed Chauvin's arrest, but not the charges.
It's scary. I mean, it's definitely scary. This is not anything any of us want to see happen. We obviously understand that people have a right to their anger. We know this is devastating. These last few weeks, months, forever. I mean, it's been a lot. But this is not how you want to see your city characterized. This is not, we don't want to see anybody get hurt. We really don't want to see anybody get hurt.
So how do you see this playing out tonight? I don't know if you've been able to follow the police briefings as the crowd, they continue to be firing tear gas. We're watching a man here break the windows out of Republic Bank downtown right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of the briefings, but I certainly have seen enough to know that tonight is clearly not going very well, and we knew that it wouldn't. We had an idea before it started that tonight was going to be bad.
Hey, where's the play? I'm with WCCO. Get out of here! Get out of here! Okay. Get out of here! Okay, I'm good. WCCO.
got out of the way. That's a good thing. If he was honking his horn, maybe, I don't know how that happens. I honestly don't know.
And this is where we saw
that is
people started swarming the
yes.
semi. And then we did see that door from Sky 11. We saw it open and close several times.
Right.
So I don't know if there was one person, two people in that cab.
And today, a large protest of thousands met at U.S. Bank Stadium and then went to 3 locations to take a knee at the stadium, the Hennepin Avenue Bridge, and 35W. It really was a large group, and they were very, very peaceful. And then this happened. A semi drove right into a crowd there. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. We still haven't been able to find out what exactly had happened because the Department of Public Safety, the state had shut down the highways. Originally, we were planning on doing that at around 8 o'clock, so they started earlier, 3 hours earlier, 5 o'clock, because they said that they wanted to make the highways a little bit safer for the peaceful protesters, for them to be able to walk across.
We can let you know who was driving that semi. His name is Bogdan Verchenko. He's charged with assault from right now. We understand he's from Ohio. The company is from Ohio.
I do want to clear up, he is not charged with assault yet. He's just being held on assault in the Hennepin County Jail, but does have a Minnesota address, a 35-year-old. Here's what we don't know right now. We don't know why he was on the interstate or how he was still on the interstate. Some conflicting reports about him being told that he was already on the interstate. And here's what we do know, though, Frank and Amelia, is that there was very little warning given to even us, the media, who was disseminating this information, that the interstates were going to close at 5 o'clock versus 8 o'clock, which is what had already been reported earlier in the day. So virtually no warning given to anyone, even us. By the time we got that information, it was almost 5 o'clock for us to start telling people. Truck drivers, other drivers may not have known this was happening. Some now telling us that this could have gone much differently if this driver didn't know how to stop his vehicle, that there was a honk or some kind of a warning, and that had it jackknifed or done something else could have caused so much more damage, and it could definitely have hurt people. But potentially this driver did his best to stop on the interstate, despite what it looks like on in that video. So many different questions, so many different answers that we are still looking for tonight, but definitely a lot of different opinions on how this could have happened, how that driver could have been there, and the fact that some are saying that this may not have been intentional, as some are alluding to.
And a Philadelphia police officer was injured overnight responding to looting in North Philadelphia. It happened in the Mayfair Shopping Center on the 6400 block of Frankfort Avenue. We're told that the officer's foot was run over by a vehicle by a looter fleeing the scene. No word on that officer's condition.
Here's a look from Bomarito Automotive Skyfox. Protesters gathered in front of police headquarters in downtown St. Louis Friday night into early Saturday morning. This is in reaction to the death of George Floyd, who died in police custody in Minneapolis. St. Louis protesters joined demonstrations across the country. The St. Louis demonstrators then moved to shut down a stretch of Interstate 70 in downtown St. Louis. The shutdown started around 10:30 p.m. and ended around 3 a.m. when a St. Louis man was struck by a FedEx semi-truck. He was between the truck trailers when he was dragged by the semi-truck. Oh my God. We're not showing the entire video because it's graphic.
Like when he was screaming for help, when I was like saying like, oh my God, screaming, hey, someone's under the car, then he just started driving more and more. So I tried to record him, but then of course, that's nothing just to record and not try to do anything. So I started banging on the 18-wheeler, was running with it. I was trying real hard, telling him to grab my hand and things like that, but it was impossible because I knew he couldn't hear me. So all of the other states that's seeing that definitely don't think just because it's a group of 1,000 folks in the highway that 18-wheelers can't go through them.
Bystander Jared Arms, who is the CEO and founder of a technology company and mentor to St. Louis youth, captured video as the entire incident unfolded.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, he got a gun. Oh my God, they got guns. Oh my God.
Demonstrators say they noticed some people in the crowd with guns. Jada Holmes shared this video that shows packages being stolen from the FedEx truck. It's unclear who was involved in the alleged theft.
Oh my God, they got in the...
You can also see people hitting on the FedEx truck. It's unclear if they were a part of the demonstration. FedEx released a statement and it reads, "Our hearts go out to all those who are grieving the events of this week, and we are deeply saddened to learn of the tragic situation involving a demonstrator in St. Louis and one of our vehicles. We offer our sincere condolences to the family of the individual involved, and there is no higher priority for FedEx than safety, and we are cooperating fully with the investigating authorities at this time."
What started as mostly peaceful protests, NYPD saying when night fell, the destruction began. Cameras capturing looters inside this Urban Outfitters at 14th and 6th, moments after the windows were shattered.
That's our right to protest. It don't go right. This is what you got to do. We got to stand united.
Yeah, I'm disturbed by both sides of it. Honestly, I think the looting is completely justified. These people have been looted from by this country their entire lives.
The damage was widespread throughout multiple neighborhoods, Apple stores, this Verizon store, and clothing stores, not with just their windows shattered, but the contents inside taken. In the daylight, the graffiti could be seen up and down the street. In some cases, the name George Floyd. In other cases, angry messages directed at police. A night of unrest, leaving those tasked with cleaning up to tackle the mess. In Soho, this North Face is one of many businesses now boarded up. The trail of damage drawing employees into stores who likely hadn't been there in months, as many who live in these neighborhoods take the cleanup into their own hands.
But I don't understand how this equals justice for all the horrible things. Do you?
No justice, no peace.
If people aren't going to listen when it's peaceful, then maybe they'll listen when something like this happens, you know?
The fabric of America is fraying. A nation on edge after days of discord. Physical confrontations, raging flames, and no resolution. This is how erratic it's become.
Yo, someone knock out, man.
In Salt Lake City, a man targets protesters with a bow and arrow. In Chicago, police officers are dragged through the streets. But trust has eroded on every side of this battle. A police car drives into a crowd.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Decades of racial injustice has reached boiling point.
It's not just about George Floyd, it's about everybody. It's about every single black person in this country who has been systematically oppressed. So this is the overflow of the things that we've been talking about for the last, 70 years? People think that after civil rights things have ended, and it hasn't.
It seems like civility and stability has been abandoned from coast to coast.
I'm sad. I'm heartbroken. This is, I've lived through this before. It's been in this department for 38 years. And I prayed that we'd never be back in this type of situation.
We watched the turmoil unfold on the president's doorstep.
Everybody move back! Move back!
Nothing like this has happened outside the White House in recent memory.
Well, we're getting tired. We're tired of seeing our black people die every day. You see me, you see the pain in my eyes? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
Get back! Go!
America's president, a man who seems to relish conflict, is now surrounded by it.
We go out there to help people, not do that nonsense.
There are those pushing for peaceful demonstrations. Here, a police officer from Michigan gives up his protection to join the protesters.
Walk with us! Walk with us! Walk with us! Let's walk!
But two crises are convulsing in America, a pandemic and police violence. And there is no sign of a quick cure for either.
Don, this is a protest that is in flux. It is one that is on the move. You can see all these protesters behind me, and they are walking straight down 16th Street. If you're familiar with D.C., this is the main artery that heads, as you can see there, straight to the White House. And this has been ground zero for the protests all day today, not just today, but over the course of the past few days. Of course, it is no accident that the protesters are ending up here at the White House. They have a very strong message from President Trump, who they have heard talk about the protests that are going on across the nation, but they're clearly not hearing the words, the message that they want from the president. There's a lot of anger from these protesters that have been directed at the president.
It's as protesters gathered outside the White House on Friday night in Washington. President Trump was briefly taken to the White House underground bunker for a period of time. Again, that's according to a White House official and a law enforcement source. He was there for a little under an hour before being brought upstairs. It is unclear if Melania Trump and Barron Trump were also taken down with him.
Those terms, of course, bring back all sorts of imagery, all sorts of symbols from the fight for civil rights, and was met with fury. It really was fury from the mayor of D.C., who today all but accused the president of inciting violence. Don, there's a very tenuous relationship between the city of Washington, which hosts the federal government, and the mayor has relatively, during this pandemic, been quite soft on President Trump, but she unleashed on him, saying that he was scared and alone, and like I said, all but accused him of inciting violence, saying that he's being extremely divisive. So, of course, the hope is that these protests, which, as I've noted, have been almost entirely peaceful today, don't devolve into more violence. But clearly, those around the president on Friday night felt that the protests had gotten violent enough to warrant taking the president down into that underground bunker in the White House.
This is considered sacred ground. This is the very area where George Floyd lost his life. I want to give you a look at the scene. It is peaceful, it is prayerful, there has been song, there has been grieving. You'll see a huge circle and then a circle within a circle. And they have been trying to keep the peace. And here, because this is considered sacred ground, people have decided that this will not burn, this will not be destroyed. This is a reminder of what happened. You have this large memorial to George Floyd, someone on it shows May 25th, 2020, the day he died, the day he was killed. You see, I can breathe now at the bottom of that. This is really a place of mourning. It's a place of recognizing that a life has been lost, but it is also a place of peaceful protest. There are notes all over here saying, "I can't breathe," which we have all heard far too many times from Eric Garner, his family mourning this again, this bringing all of their emotions back to the foreground, back into their hearts. Prosecute the police, stop dehumanizing black people. Black Lives Matter. You're seeing R.I.P. George Floyd praying for change. People are hoping, they truly are hoping, that this will be the final catalyst for real change.